Hello, I hope you're doing well. So the reason why I'm making this video is because I did a lot of traveling. I did nearly 19 months of no work at all. Actually, it was probably longer than that. It was probably about 21 months of no work at all. So I get these questions all the time about this. Things like, Raj, tell me about your experience. What was your favorite country? And that one I find very hard to answer, so please don't ask me that. But I also get questions like, how did you find it coming back? Like after all of that time out, it must have been difficult, right? And I usually say that I decided to come back, right? There wasn't like I had to come back for anything. I decided to come back because I felt like it was time. And I'm going to explain a bit more during this video about, why I decided to come back. But really, I want to focus on what my learnings were. What did I experience out there that I brought back with me and that I've integrated ever since? Because that's another question I get. And of course, so many things happened. Like I went around South America, some of Central America. I came back. I was going to look for a job. I couldn't find anything. And then I went to Asia for about another 6-7 months. So you can imagine like seeing all of these countries, 20 or so countries, I don't know, something like that. All sorts of countries. And the thing is, I went out there without any plan, no plan at all. All I knew was that I was flying to Costa Rica. And actually, I did have a bit of a plan, but my plan got thrown out the window. So I was planning to leave from Brazil to go home after about 3.5 months. But I realized that didn't feel right. I didn't want to rush and do that. And actually, there's a funny story about this. I was in the airport, in Rio de Janeiro airport. I had a ticket to go home. So I was gonna go home after about 3.5 months, but then I decided to just screw the money, screw all of that. I don't want to go home. I'm not going home. So I took a flight the same day at the same time to Argentina instead. And when I say same time, literally, I was in the airport. I could see one flight saying London at, I think it was about 12 p.m. midday. And then the other flight, 12:05 to Buenos Aires in Argentina. So I had both of these tickets in my hand, literally like something out of a movie. I had 2 tickets in my hand. Even then, like I decided before, right? That's why I bought the ticket to Argentina. I decided before, I don't want to go home. I'm buying this ticket to Argentina. But even at the airport, I still had 2 tickets in my hand. But of course, I didn't go home. But it was quite funny seeing like, okay, you can board your flight to London right now, or 5 minutes later, you can go to Argentina. It was just, and I didn't regret it one bit because I knew I wanted to continue traveling. So just to give you a rundown, I went to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama. I went to Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile, Brazil. And then I went back to Peru, and then I went back to Ecuador. I went back to Chile. So it was a bit of a mishmash. So that's what happened. And imagine all of the things that I was learning out there, because it's a complete different culture. South American culture is so different from what I'm used to, being an Indian and being a British person. Having those is so different to that. So number one lesson I learned out there is that people are friendly. And this goes across all of my travels, anywhere I've ever been. And why am I saying like people are friendly? That's a simple one, you might be thinking. But what I mean instead, let me reword it and say, people are not unfriendly. People are not dangerous. This is the number one thing people said to me before I left. Like, oh, it's dangerous in Colombia. Brazil is dangerous. What if someone scams you? Be careful of those scammers. There's scammers everywhere. These things are not true. They're not. And I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying that this is not something that I experienced often. Yes, people are trying to sell me things. Yes, there is a lot of there is some crime in some of these countries. Of course, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that it didn't serve me one bit to be wary and be worried about people, because my experience, everyone I came across was friendly. Yes, like I said, people tried to sell me things. Who cares? That's what they're doing. They're trying to make money. Like, I don't like, that's fine. I understand where they're coming from. I don't have to get worked up and say, oh yeah, these people are so bad. Doesn't matter. And Colombia, people said, watch out. I met the most amazing people out there. Most amazing. They invited me to their homes. And if I had believed the thing that people said of be careful, I wouldn't have gone to these people's homes and had a party with them. And, I wouldn't have done any of this. I wouldn't have felt safe. So that's the one thing that, I still had it in the back of my mind, the things that people said about certain countries. But it didn't stop me, because I realized people are nice. People are nice, full stop. I don't care what country they're from. I don't care what the reputation is. That's what you see in the news. But there's so much brilliance in everyone. And I brought that back with me. Everyone I interact with, I know that underneath, I don't care what they're doing, if they're trying to, if they're annoying, if they're angry, underneath, there is that niceness in everyone. So I'm looking out for that anytime I speak to anyone. And that's been a game changer that I brought back with me. Not believing anything about people are trying to scam you. It's a dangerous world. It's a dog-eat-dog world. That's nonsense. Like, if you believe that, it's going to limit you in life. Yes, if people are trying to do these things, just be wary of it. It's like, and when I say be wary of it, all I mean is, yeah, just know that it's happening. But don't let it limit how you're interacting with everyone. Defensive mode, fear mode. That's boring. That's not strength. That's living in fear. Strength is knowing what's true, going into things wholeheartedly and seeing light in everyone. So that was number one. People are nice. Number two, I realized I don't need much. I don't need many things. Like, I don't need really anything. I took out there a backpack and I packed a bunch of things in there. And I ended up just throwing things away, losing things. I lost a lot of things and realizing I don't need much things. All I needed was a phone, passport, money. That's all that I needed. I was sleeping in random hostels, sleeping in very noisy places at times, and not sleeping much at all at times as well. But all the things I thought I needed, I didn't. And that doesn't just mean material things. This also means all of the all of the planning, all of the ideas, all of the wishes and dreams, the preconceptions. I didn't need any of that. Letting go of needing anything was huge. And I've taken that back with me. And it's funny because like I'm trying to be as minimal as possible, because the more things I have, the more beliefs that I collect, the more closed really life is. Because that means I need something, I'm relying on something. And I used to take a lot of vitamin supplements. I used to try and make sure my health was 100% perfect. Taking everything that I read was good for you. I don't need any of that anymore. That's just a burden. I don't want burdens in my life. I want to be able to get up, go, do whatever I want without saying, okay, oh no, I need this first. This thing I have to do. Like, it's just, again, it's not strength. It's living in attachment. Living like you need something that you don't really. So that was number 2. I need less. Number 3 is going with the flow. This is huge because I didn't have any plans out there, right? And I said to myself beforehand, I'm not going to make any plans. Yeah, I thought, okay, I'm going to go Costa Rica and then end up in Brazil. After 3.5 months, I'll come back. That was the only structure I had. And I said, I'm going to just zip through these countries. And that wasn't as enjoyable as I thought it would be. And what I mean by that is having that desire to, okay, I'm going to go home and go from Brazil. That made me feel a bit of pressure, because then throughout my travels, I was enjoying places, but then knowing, okay, I've got to move, I've got to go here next. And it was rushing. It's like when you go on a 2-week holiday and then someone wants to have an itinerary for everything. And I get it. For 2 weeks, it definitely makes sense. Because I would do the same. I'd want to do everything I want, but I had time. I didn't need the itinerary. And what it ended up doing was it just made me more stressed. So after I ditched my flight from Brazil, I had no plan. And that was a huge lesson because it showed me the way to live. The way to live. Because I was just going with what I felt. There's that phrase, go with the flow. I was going with what I felt was nice. If it felt nice to stay in one place for longer, I would do it. If it felt like, okay, I want to leave here, I'm done, just pack up my bag. And I would even, I would take it to such an extreme that I would only sometimes book one night at a time. And then in the morning, I'd have to check out and they'll be like, oh, sir, you've got to check out. And then I'll extend my stay, like deciding literally on the day. Okay, I'm going to stay a bit longer. Yeah, it's amazing. That feeling was amazing. Because it was literally going with my instinct. And I didn't know what that was before. I don't think many people get training on instinct. Like we're so used to going and having plans and being pressured, thinking we need a plan, because without a plan is dangerous. It feels scary, but it's not true. So how I take that back into my life now is I stay with this intuition. I stay with this flow of, yeah, what shall I do? What feels like I can put my ultimate energy into it. That's a very important thing, because if you are fully present, if you're fully involved in something and you really want to be involved, then that outcome will be massive. And that's what I've been showing everyone I'm working with, that if you are going in at 100% right now, in this moment, fully enjoying, fully involved, the outcome's huge. It's massive. It's like yourself times 10. So going with the flow is huge. It's like people think they have to plan everything out in life. Yes, have visions, have things you want to get towards, but then come back to the present, because then your plan can change. Maybe you think of another plan because you come into this heightened state of awareness and intelligence that, yeah, maybe the plan you had before doesn't serve you anymore. Like people think being in the now is like taking it easy. It's not. It's full involvement. It's the full life experience. It's actually giving yourself more of everything. It's like now I can see clearly. Now I don't have tension blocking me. So now I can do everything better right now. Going with the flow is huge. So that's definitely what I brought back with me. That's number 3. Number 4 is everything has a solution. Everything. So I lost my passport out there. I lost my passport, and actually nearly twice. I say nearly because I found it the next day, which was a horror story on its own. And if you want to know more about that, I'll tell you. But the first time I lost my passport, I didn't find it. And I was in Peru, and I had to call up the government in the UK. They said, either Raj, you go home tomorrow or the next day and you take an emergency flight, or you order a new passport and wait some time, like 6 weeks or so. So, you know, going with the flow theme, I said, I'll wait. Sure, I'll wait. And what that did was it put me into this mode of, what can I do with that time? How can I use that time that I'm waiting? Instead of me being in panic mode, like, oh no, I've got to stick around here for 6 weeks. No, what can I do? Because initially, back to when I lost my passport, I was in complete panic. I was in tears. I was crying in the Peruvian police station. And I thought I had, like, it wasn't the fact that it was just the passport. I had felt like I'd let myself down. I had felt like an idiot. I felt like, you know, you're worthless. It hit me hard. And I was exhausted from from the trip. So basically I lost it on a long night bus. It was my own fault. Nobody stole it. Like I said before, people are nice. Nobody stole it. It was my fault. So yeah, I was in tears, and I was like, I could not think of what to do. I could not. But then I had to eventually go into solution mode. Everything has a solution. Everything. No matter how hard it feels, no matter how much it hurts, no matter if you're crying, no matter if you're scared, everything has a solution. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, to show people a way which is beyond their mind, which is beyond the emotions, the thoughts. Those are getting created all the time, but you can find something beyond that. You can go into this solution mode. So yeah, I eventually took Spanish classes, which was one of the best experiences ever while I waited for my passport. The best, because I was so free. I didn't have to run around anymore. I had been rushing for a while, actually. So it was like this losing of the passport was everything I needed, but I could not see it, of course. I thought it was the worst. It was everything I needed. Spanish lessons. I learned pretty good Spanish. I was able to be present because all I had to do was wait for my passport. I had every day of just being in the sun, relaxing, learning Spanish, living, not rushing around. And then when my passport came, I felt this new sense of purpose with my travels. It was like I'd gone to rehab almost. I had some talks with myself during that time, and it was so valuable. And the funny thing is my passport was going to expire the next year anyway. So that was another story I told myself, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I get a new passport. I was going to do that anyway. So everything has a solution. If you can find a solution, you can look at it in a different, positive way, you will thrive in everything you're doing. Brought that back with me for sure. Everything I do, I'm looking for solutions. I don't want to go into this maze of the mind of victim mode and drama and emotions. Like, it doesn't help me at all. People think it helps sometimes. I don't think it does. How does it help? Feeling bad, how does it help? Move. Get to that place where you can find a solution. Get into the true power. Again, like I've said before, this is the strength. So that was number 4, maybe, I think. I don't know. Next is that, yeah, with all of this stuff happening, this probably links into all of the other points I've said. Actually, they all link together, but I realized that there's way more important things in life. When I was traveling, I realized there's way more important things in life. What I mean by that is, compared to all of the nonsense that we go through, like, people argue over the most stupid things, the most stupidest things ever. There's way more important things. When I was out there, I was seeing some incredible things, like things that have been around for centuries, for millennia. I had seen the history, I had felt the history, I had been in the environments, I had been around all of these different people, meeting new people every day, hearing stories from people every day. My mind was blown. I was seeing another way of life. I was on buses traveling from place to place. I was partying at night, meeting more fun people at night as well, a different crowd of people, let's say. I was being invited into people's houses and within their groups. I was doing all sorts of things, taking motorbikes around. And the one thing that kept hitting me was that I was awestruck. I was full of life. With all of these amazing things, I thought, wow, like all of this stuff's out there. And these feelings I was feeling, it was just immense. I was just happy to be a human. I was like grateful to be able to experience this. And I realized that there's way more important things in life than the nonsense that I used to think. Owning stuff, being better than someone, worrying about someone judging me. It's all mind games. It's all mind games. It's not living. It's nonsense. So when I got a taste of a life which was living, I realized, like, yeah, I'm all of this nonsense doesn't make sense. So ever since I've come back, I've not gotten myself involved in all of this petty drama. I don't want to be involved in that. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy, because it's like talking about something that's not real. It's just like, people here's another thing. People are skeptical about mysticism and all of that kind of stuff, but they're not skeptical about their own nonsense thoughts and arguments and ego. Like, that's the thing you should be skeptical about, not being skeptical about, you know, whatever else. Like, it's backwards. Be skeptical about your thoughts, because they're the ones that are nonsense. If you think about it, when someone goes into an argument and then a few days later everything's fine and different, or even an hour later, it's like being possessed. It's an illusion. So I decided I'm not getting myself involved in that, not pulled into that at all. And I came back realizing that, yeah, I don't need much things. There's way more things that are important, which are living, which are connecting to great people, learning, growing, peace. And I decided when I came back, I'm going to focus on that. That's all I'm going to focus on. It doesn't make sense for me to focus on things that are just material or based on like the mind, the thoughts. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So that was number 5, I think. And the last thing is that, yeah, I've realized that we have a limited amount of time. Actually, my concept of time changed. My concept of time completely changed, because time out there was spent so well, right? It was like that time I had was like using up 10 years of living for some people. Some people might take a long time to have those experiences, right? So every day was a new experience. Every day was a challenge. Every day was different. And I realized that time is dependent on how you use it. And what I mean by that is, when you are enjoying time to the max, it's like when people say time flies when you're having fun. It's true. But time also slows down when you're really present. Time changes. It's not like time in the world of work where a week goes by and it's a blur. No, time out when I was traveling was like every experience was amazing. It felt fast and slow at the same time. It was like I was evolving at a rapid pace. So as soon as I came back, I said to myself, I'm going to keep on using time. I'm going to keep on making this growth be exponential. So I've been focusing on my growth, my personal growth, and not even as much as about health anymore. Before it was all about, okay, I need to be as fit as possible, as muscular as possible. I need to make sure I eat all the right foods. Some of that is illusion as well. Some of that nonsense, wasting of energy and deluded thinking. Yes, my health is very good and I look after it now, but my focus on how I use my time and develop now is, how can I grow as a person? Each day, how can I grow as a person? What can I do? So I'll use my time very, very effectively. And it's proven to have helped me now, because every 3 months I look at my life and I'm like, wow, it can't get any better. I'm developing and growing at such a quick pace, because I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm doing meditation, I'm doing all sorts of different things that are all cohesively working together to help me to grow. I'm not going to waste any time. As soon as I came back, I was like, I'm not wasting any more time. I wasted a lot of time in my life before the age before the ages of, I don't know, 25 or whatever, I wasted a lot of time because of thoughts, because of what I thought I wanted, because of worrying about other people, because of not doing things that I wanted to do. So no more will I waste time ever again. I don't care what it is. I don't care who tries to tempt me. Using time by living is what I mean. Living, growing, being, peace, doing things that light me up, I guess is a great way to summarize it. So that's my learnings. And can I think of any more? I probably can, but yeah, the only other thing which kind of goes into all of this is to not take life so seriously and live it. There's so many moments where we are getting caught in drama and seriousness. Like, just live life. Even when I was out there, I got into these moments of panic, like, where shall I go next? Oh no, if I don't do this, I'm going to miss out. And then I was like, no, calm down, slow down, relax, be. It's not so serious. It's not as serious as you think. It never is. Yes, it can hurt, but the longer we hold on to that, the longer we stay in the serious mode, the longer it's going to be to get out. Well, maybe not actually. That's not true. See, I correct myself as well. But what I mean is, it's going to feel like you're used to that. You're used to being that way. It's a habit. So if you're in a habit for too long, it's like, this is all I know. Get out of the seriousness, play with things, play with life, and then see what changes. I'm sure a lot will change. So that's all I'm going to say for now. And the funny thing is, I haven't had a massive desire to just leave everything and travel for a while. Like, I do still want to travel. I do still want to enjoy my life. But in the past 2 years that I've been back, it's been just over 2 years, yeah. I have just maximized this time. So I'm not desperate for, I need to get away, I need to do this. No, I've left every day as useful. If you can imagine, every single day you write down, this day was good for this, you would go to sleep peaceful each day, right? So I don't need to go and travel around the world to keep on growing. I've taken all of that back with me, and I'm growing now continuously. So how can you do that? How can you grow continuously? How can you implement all of the things that I've said? Because this is something everyone can tap into. Everyone is the same. Like I said, point number one, everyone's friendly. People are nice. People are nice because we all have an interconnectedness about us. We all have access to this higher wisdom, this higher way of living. So how can you access this? What can you do? How can you make each day a memorable day? And how can you become aware of your mortality? But don't use it as a, oh no, I'm going to die, or this person is going to die. No, use that as your fuel to live. That's what fuels me. So I'm going to close it on that. That was my learnings from my travels. I'm sure I'll think of some more. And if I do, perhaps I'll do a part 2 of this. But that's what's coming up for me right now. And I want to hear what you got from this. What are you feeling right now? If you've listened to this whole thing, you're feeling something, I'm sure. Because like I said, all these things relate to human beings. This is not about me. I'm sharing these things because I feel like everyone will be able to relate. It's not about Raj's stories about his travels. No. These things can happen for everyone. Maybe they are already happening. Maybe you have a different way to tap into all this. Maybe you have a different view. Maybe you just take 1 or 2 things that I've said from today and be like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. How can I do that? So let me know, message me. I want to hear from you. I want to hear how this might have been useful, what you take away from it. What's just one thing that you take away from this? So yeah, I look forward to hearing from you, and perhaps you will think about what your lessons have been, and you can reflect on that too. All right. Have an awesome day.